Okay, alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi kama yuhibbu rabbuna wa yarda wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. All right, so before we begin the question and answers, we just want to let everyone know that we have a fundraiser coming up for our masjid Saturday, April 14th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. That is 315 Green Tree Road, Sewell, New Jersey. All right. And that is April 14th, Saturday, April 14th, 5 to 9 p.m. Inshallah ta'ala. We will have a fundraiser dinner. The dinner is free. The fundraiser is not free. The dinner is free. The poetry by Sister Kashmir Maryam is free. But Jannah is not free. So you can contribute here, contribute somewhere, but contribute because Jannah is the merchandise of Allah, and the merchandise of Allah is expensive. It's not something that you're just going to earn on your good looks and, your good heart. There's deeds that have to be done in order to earn paradise, and we pray, inshallah ta'ala. I don't know if there were any questions or comments about what was presented, inshallah. And also we have started our GoFundMe page. You can go to my Facebook page, Shadeed Muhammad / Roll the Admin on Facebook, and you can find the link for our GoFundMe page. So for those of you, if you have PayPal, you can just transfer the money to the GoFundMe. And if you would like to make a donation, do we have PayPal? We don't. No, we don't have PayPal, but we will have that set up, inshallah. We will set up a PayPal account, inshallah. For now, we have the GoFundMe page. If you would like to write a check and mail it into the masjid, you can do that. If you would like to do that, alhamdulillah. Were there any questions or comments? You guys had any questions about what was presented? No. I'm hoping that's just an indication that it was clear and there was no. You guys online had any questions related to the topic? We'll take a couple of minutes. And that is our dinner / fundraiser on Saturday, April 14th, 5 to 9 p.m. inshallah. My pleasure. Alhamdulillah, my pleasure. Were there any questions or comments? And as I said earlier, don't forget about the one-day marriage retreat. That'll be going down September, the very next weekend after this, September 21st in Atlanta, Georgia. Myself along with Sister Naila and Hassan Clay. Inshallah ta'ala, if you have not registered, please go to their Facebook page to register, inshallah. Get the early bird special for singles as well as couples, inshallah. That is April 21st. Saturday, April 21st, a one-day marriage retreat. Ameen. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma, pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with my efforts. Yes, sure. Go ahead, ask your question. The third sign of prophethood was the seal of prophethood in between his shoulder blades. On the prophet's back, there was a circle-like figure on his back that was as big as an egg, and it was the seal of prophethood in between his shoulder blades. Any other questions related to the topic? The topic of family time with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What are some ways to deal with being angry before getting out of control and someone nitpicking? The thing is that if you're in a home with your spouse, you've been married to someone for a substantial amount of time, you know each other's buttons. You know each other's buttons. And knowing your spouse's buttons is not for you to push them. It's for you to avoid them and to stay away from them. If you know that this thing makes your spouse angry or upset, then you should avoid them and stay away from them, not push them. And let me make this person angry. Wallah al-Azim, when you sit here and you intentionally try to make your spouse angry or upset, you are the shaitan. You are acting like a devil. You are literally acting like a devil. That you would sit here, right? Because think about what shaitan does. What does shaitan do? Allah describes shaitan in the Quran, إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُ. That shaitan sits and watches you, him and his party, him and his group, from a place where they can see you and you can't see him. What is shaitan watching you for? What is he looking for? Your weaknesses. Why is shaitan looking for your weaknesses? So he can use them against you. He can play on them. Why does your spouse sit at home, watch all of the things that makes you angry and upset, and then turn around and uses them against you? You're doing exactly what a devil would do. Don't be at home, acting like a devil. And I'm not saying that you are a devil. I'm saying you have devilish behavior. You have some spouses, wallah al-Azim, we have some spouses that have devilish behavior for whatever reason. You're angry, you're upset, you want to sit back, you want to look at what angers your spouse, and then you go and you push the person's buttons. That's exactly what shaitan does to us. So now I got to worry about shaitan, and I have to worry about my spouse. It's not fair, man. It's not fair. So, the thing is that when we say, how do I avoid getting angry? Number one, your spouse should avoid your buttons, the things that trigger you. All right. The things that trigger you, your triggers. All right. You should avoid those things. Number two, you have to know your limits. That when you see yourself going in a certain direction, you have to be able to say, all right, I'm at 60. That's my stopping point. Because if I continue, I'm going to go to 80, 90, and, after that, anything is liable to happen. You got to be able to calculate your anger as it's escalating. When you see yourself at 30, 40, and you know that you're getting up there because your voice starts to get higher, the vein in your forehead starts to pop out more, you start to feel the tightness in your chest. When you start to feel yourself escalating, you have to tell yourself, all right, that's it. I'm at 60. 60, you're sane enough to stop. Once you hit 75, 80, there's no coming back from that. You're gone. That situation might actually, lead to divorce. You have to be able to say, okay, I'm at 50, I'm at 60, we're still talking to each other like human beings. Let me walk away from this situation before it goes any further than that. You can say to your spouse, honey, can we continue this conversation at another time? Can we talk about this? Let's put the conversation on pause and let's revisit the conversation at another time. Because I feel myself escalating, I feel my anger rising. And I don't want it to get to a point where, we can't actually have a conversation at all. Because if two people are shouting at each other, nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. All right? So to know, your anger level, to know your level of, where you can still function as a clear thinking human being. Another thing that will help us avoid, the danger of anger is stop putting ourselves in situations to become angry. Sometimes we test ourselves, we put ourselves in situations, and then when that anger is fueled, you shouldn't have never put yourself in that situation to begin with. When the Prophet ﷺ told one of his companions, La taghdab, don't become angry, it didn't mean don't become angry. The scholars explained that what the Prophet was trying to tell him was don't put yourself in situations in which your anger will be fueled. Don't do it. Don't do it. Another thing that will help us avoid becoming extremely angry is constantly being in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you start to see yourself going in a certain direction, immediately you begin making dhikr. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Min hamzihi wa nafthihi wa nafthihi. You seeking refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan. A'udhu bika, you say the ayah in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من حمزات الشياطين وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. I seek refuge with Allah from the agitation of the shayateen, because they agitate the situation. Hamazat الشياطين. I seek refuge with Allah from the agitation of the shayateen, of the devils. They agitate the situation. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ رَبِّي أَن يَحْضُرُونَ. And I seek refuge with Allah, oh my Lord, I seek refuge with you from them being present in the situation as it's escalating. You're seeking a refuge with Allah. Understand the shaitan and how the devils and how they work. They are attracted to hostile situations just like a shark is attracted to blood. When the shayateen, the jinn, see a hostile situation, they rush to the situation and agitate it even more. Understand the dynamics here. Understand the spiritual world and how it works. So these are all some of the things that we should be aware of when we're getting to that place. And then of course, personally understanding that regardless of your anger, you're still responsible for your actions. We're adults. We're adults and we're still responsible. Life is 90-10. 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to it. 90% of the situation is on you, because you can't control what someone does to you, but you can sure control how you respond to it. And you are responsible for your actions. You can't say, well, I was angry. Well, guess what? The cops come to your door, they're putting the cuffs on you. You can tell that to the judge that I was angry. And the real judge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, you can tell him you were angry as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows whether or not your anger has, prohibited you or inhibited you from, exercising good judgment or not. This whole idea that I was angry. Yeah, but you're still responsible. You don't get to be irresponsible simply because you're angry. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. I got time for one more question, inshallah. One more question. Oh, the question said, what does a sister have to do to get married? Meaning here in this masjid or just in general? I'm not really sure. The question is a little ambiguous. I don't know if she meant like what is the protocol here in the masjid, or what is the protocol Islamically? What does a woman need to have in order for her to get married? Just a little clarification. Both. Okay, so let's start with the easy part. And what it takes to get married here in the masjid. That's the easy part. All right, so here in the masjid we have a policy, and that is that couples have to go through, or the two people, interested parties, have to go through premarital counseling. We will not marry anyone here in the masjid without going through premarital counseling. And that premarital counseling will be with myself as the imam. That premarital counseling will be, a certain number of meetings that myself, along with the two interested people, we will have to sit down and discuss, all of the, intricacies of the process of marriage, as well as some of the issues related to personalities and things like that. You understand? Of course, the woman needs to have a wali. She has to have a guardian, whether her father, her grandfather, uncle, a male member from her Muslim male member from her family. that will be there to represent her. And if she doesn't have one, then inshallah, the imam will serve as the wali after, ascertaining whether or not she has a legitimate wali or not. And then after that is done, then inshallah, that's pretty much the process here at the masjid. All right. As it relates to Islamically, in order for a woman to get married, number one, the woman should have a wali. She should have a guardian, male guardian. That is the most important component, because the male guardian, the Muslim male guardian, is going to ensure that all of the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the Muslim woman within the construct of marriage, the wali is there to ensure that those rights are going to be given to her. All right, are going to be given to her. Men speak a language that other men understand, right? And a man is less likely to take advantage of a woman knowing that she has a male relative, a family member, a father, uncle, grandfather, someone there that is going to actually care about her and be concerned about her welfare and her well-being. The second thing that has to be in place is that the woman should go after a suitable spouse. And a suitable spouse is someone who is, number one, religiously compatible, number two, financially capable, and number three, physically able. These are the three qualities that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, and in a number of hadith. Number one, that the person is, religious. All right. Number two, the person has the physical ability, and number three, the person has the financial capability of maintaining a woman. All right. So all of those things, and during the premarital counseling session, all of those things will be evaluated. Do you have the means to get married? If a woman asks for a dowry of $500 and the man can't give her a dowry of $500, then why are you getting married? If you can't afford a dowry of $500, then you probably need to hold off a little minute before you get married. All right? Even when you open up a business, you should have extra money just in case the business doesn't do well, right? And then you got to come out of your pocket and pay for it yourself, right? You don't go into the business with just enough money to rent the place and then, begin starting your business. What if your business doesn't do well? Now you're in debt. And the same thing with marriage. It applies the same way. No one goes and gets married and you got just the bare minimum amount to get married. What happens when she loses her job? You lose your job. You got a job today. You may not have it tomorrow. Do you have anything to fall back on? Obviously, we fall back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the provider, the cherisher, sustainer, maintainer of everything that exists. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you on that. But at the same token, we still tie our camel. We still do our part. Trust in Allah, it means to do your part. That's what trust in Allah means. To do your part and then let Allah handle everything else. Trust in Allah is not to be irresponsible and expect Allah to pick up everything, right? To pick up all the slack. No, that's not putting your trust in Allah. Putting your trust in Allah means to do your part. When you make dua, you ask Allah for something, right? Don't you got to go out and do your part for the execution of the dua to come into fruition? Absolutely. You don't say, oh, Allah bless me with children, and you're single, and you sit at home and say, I'm going to trust in Allah. Allah's going to respond to my dua. Yeah, how, genius? Please tell me. You sit at home single by yourself. You raise your hands. You say, oh, Allah, bless me with righteous children. And you're single. And day after day after day goes by. Like, when are those children, when are they going to fall out the sky? Like, how does that happen? You have to go get married. And then you have to do what married people do in hopes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would execute his qadr based upon the dua that you made. All right, so that's pretty much how marriage works. So the woman needs to have a wali. She needs to have a suitable spouse in the areas that I mentioned. Number three, there should be a marriage contract. All right, a couple should not get married without a marriage contract. A marriage is a business. I hate to say this, but in many instances, African Americans, I can't even say African Americans. I can just say, for the most part, African Americans, we're pretty much the only people who marry for love. Pure love. Everybody else, marriage is a business transaction. Make no mistake about that. African Americans like, no, I love her. I want to marry her. He's so cute, and I want to marry this person. We're the only people that do that. Everybody else go into a marriage. The father is looking at his family, what type of family he come from, where does he work at? Is he a doctor? Is he an engineer? Right? Where did he graduate from university? What type of job he had? We the only people, I don't care what type of job he has. He's religious. He prays 5 times a day. He's in the masjid. He's good in my book. No. It doesn't work like that. Marriage is a business transaction. Quid pro quo. This for that. Make no mistake about that. It always has been. People got married for financial reasons, political reasons. Even the Prophet ﷺ, he married, some of the women that he married were political moves. That does not mean that he did not have a genuine interest in the woman. But also in marrying the woman, he also knew that it was a strategic political move. Marrying the daughter of the chief of the tribe of Bani Qurayza was the tribe of the Jews. The chief of that tribe, his daughter was Safiya bint Huyy. Yeah. And the Prophet married her. Juwayriya, who was the daughter of the chief of the tribe, one of the tribes that the Prophet ﷺ went to war with. And when Juwayriya was captured, she was captured, right? And she realized that she was captured. She realized that she came from a wealthy family. And now all of that wealth and being from the elite of her society actually meant absolutely nothing right now because she's a captive. She strategically made a move to get herself out of that situation. There's no way. I was raised in trinkets. I was raised in gold and rubies and pearls. I was raised in a good life. And now I'm somebody's captive? Oh no, not going to happen. So what did she do? She realized, who from amongst the Muslims is that guy that I need to talk to help me get out of this situation? And she realized that the only person that could do that was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she went, she told her slave owner, I need to go talk to Muhammad. Her wheels are spinning. Smart woman, man, subhanAllah. Wheels spinning. I'm not going to be nobody's slave. I need to get out of this situation. So what does she do? She goes to the house of the Prophet ﷺ, knocks on the door. Who opens the door? Aisha. Aisha comes to the door, and immediately Aisha says, no, I'm not letting you in, because she was extremely beautiful. And Aisha said that I knew if the Prophet saw how beautiful she was, he was going to want to marry her. I didn't even want the woman in my house. I didn't even want her in my house. And Juwayriya came back again. I need to speak with Muhammad. Aisha finally let her in. She went to the Prophet ﷺ and she said, I need to secure my ransom. And I need you to help me with that. This woman wasn't going to settle for being nobody's slave or nobody's captive. She said, oh Muhammad, I need you to, my captive, my slave owner, he wants this amount of money for me to secure my ransom. I don't have that type of money. I come from a rich family, but you killed my father, you killed my husband, and I'm a slave now. My situation has changed dramatically. My slave, my captive, my owner, he wants this amount of money. I don't have that type of money. How can you help me? What did the Prophet ﷺ did? He knew this was a strategic move. The Prophet said, I can make you an offer better than that. I can make you an offer better than that. How about you embrace Islam, I marry you, and I'll let my marriage to you, your dowry will be me freeing you. That's your dowry. Not only that, she said, okay, I'll do that. And you marrying me, my dowry will be you free me. But in addition to that, you free my people. Political moves, man. Political moves. That's not to say that there wasn't a genuine interest there. Obviously, it wasn't love. That wasn't on the table as of yet. But there was an interest there. But strategic political moves was definitely a part of that. And that wasn't the only situation. There were a number of situations where, so when we talk about marriage is a business contract. Marriage is a business deal. And I'm not saying that I don't want to, take the element of love off the table, because I think to our credit as African Americans, when we marry, there is that genuine love there. Whereas with other cultures, love is not a factor until sometimes decades later. And sometimes it's never a factor. Yeah. In other cultures, love is not even a factor. So to our credit as African Americans, I think, the love component is necessary. But I think that we allow the love and the interest in the person to overshadow the business aspect of it. And when you're doing business with someone, you want to know everything that is being brought to the table. Everything. I want to know, what your income is. Can you afford marriage? Can you afford this situation? What are my living, quarters going to look like? What's this situation going to, do we have medical benefits? Is this, who's responsible for this? Am I responsible for that? Financially, who's responsible? You need to know. We can't take that off the table. And I think just sometimes we get, just overly obsessed, inundated with the whole idea of an interest in someone and loving someone and being involved with the person, that we overlook the business aspect of the marriage. And then, of course, in other cultures, I think sometimes that they overlook that it's all business, and they overlook the love component, so much so that women are married to men and they don't even tell them that they love them. They don't do things to show that they love them. It's just a business deal. Especially with the arranged marriages, you got your parents say, or you're going to marry your cousin, or you're going to marry your distant cousin. It's like, but I don't want to marry. Well, this is the family tradition. You're going to marry the person, and you go into it just fulfilling your part of the bargain. But there's no love involved. No love involved whatsoever. So I think, we need to have, a balance between both of those. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa salama tasliman kathira. Wa subhanaka rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. That's because some of these messages are pushing to get it over and they are not explaining it. Yo, you're absolutely right. I agree wholeheartedly. You have some messages that, as I said earlier, many of the masajid are not concerned with, to their own detriment. I mean, you can't have a community without married couples in the community. What is a community except made up of men, women, and children? And those are the people who make a community. So how could a masjid not be concerned with the condition of the marriages in that community, and not put entities in place to ensure that the marriages are longevous and the marriages are healthy and cohesive? Why would they not put things in place? But many of the masajid, Dawwir, Tajid, go circle these masjids, journey through these masjids here in America, and you'll find empty, a complete void there. They don't care about the conditions of these marriages. They don't care. Marriage crumbles. Oh, mashallah. Just be patient. Inshallah, Allah bless you with somebody else. That's all you have. That's the best you can offer as a masjid. As a religious institution, the best that you can offer is, just be patient. Allah will bless you with somebody else. That's the best you can offer. Okay, inshallah, we'll stop here. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.